Good morning, Atlanta communities. Welcome to Wake Up to Broker Up with Mark, episode number 39. Today is the tale of two contracts, both of them internal, meaning that they're Atlanta communities on both sides practicing designated agency, and both of them having issues, one of them at the beginning and one of them at the end. So let's start with the one at the beginning. So Earnest Money was due X number of days after binding agreement. And unfortunately, the buyer terminated very early on after all contingencies in favor of the buyer ended. And guess what? There wasn't any earnest money. It was never paid. So they have these cool things on cell phones, like what I'm recording on now, called calendars. And you can go out like 5 days and set yourself a reminder. And you can do that if you represent the buyer. And you also could do that if you represent the seller. And then you can follow up. That's the key to make sure the earnest money was paid. Because unfortunately in this situation it wasn't, and really the people that knew the most about it were the people involved in the transaction. You've got to follow up. The second one had a vague special stip. We're on both sides of the transaction. Seller was supposed to leave some furniture that would be agreed upon later, meaning after the binding agreement date. They sent back some text, etc., determined what furniture was going to be left. And then in the end, the seller ended up having room to put it on the truck, so they did. The furniture moved out of state. On the day before closing, the buyer did the walkthrough and there's no furniture there. Seller said, I really want to keep it. It's out of state now. It's an heirloom from my family. Sorry. So neither party, buyer or seller, had their realtor put it in an amendment so that they could agree to it and more formalize it to make sure that it was left. Both realtors on both sides of the transaction had an obligation to go and check on things. The one representing the seller, the listing agent, could have gone to the property prior to or when the seller was moving out and checked on it to make sure that furniture was being left. Same thing with the buyer's agent. They could have gone there before closing, before the walkthrough, and at least determined that the stuff was gone so they didn't walk in there finding out with the buyer in tow. So yet again, it's about follow-up. Your job doesn't end when the contract goes binding. It really just begins. You have to manage the transaction from start to finish, and you have to make sure there are no surprises. Enjoy your day, enjoy your weekend, and for sure, enjoy the beautiful September weather we're blessed with right now. Thanks. Bye-bye.